Growing up, my sister Hannah was obsessed with dolls. She had shelves full of porcelain Victorian beauties with intricate gowns and coiffed hair. I always found them kind of creepy, with their lifelike glass eyes that seemed to follow you around the room. But Hannah treasured her collection. When Hannah died of leukemia at just 9 years old, most of her precious dolls were donated or given to other little girls. But there was one our parents couldn't bear to part with, Hannah's favorite doll she'd named Rose. Rose was a beautiful porcelain doll with soft blonde curls and rosy painted cheeks. Hannah took her everywhere, even throughout her cancer treatments. She said Rose kept her company when she felt lonely or scared. After Hannah passed, Rose was placed reverently on a chair in my sister's untouched bedroom, which my parents closed off like a memorial. My mom said Rose held too many memories and was meant to stay in Hannah's room. As I grew older, that doll lurking frozen in Hannah's dim bedroom always unsettled me. The vibes coming from that room felt heavy, almost resentful. But I figured it was just my imagination. Last month, I came home to help my folks move out of the old house I grew up in. As we sorted through decades of clutter, I avoided the shut-off relic of Hannah's bedroom. But the door was unexpectedly left ajar. Cautiously peering in, I gasped. Rose was no longer perched on the chair. Heart racing, I swung the door wide and stepped inside the musty room. That's when I spotted Rose crumpled on the floor beneath the chair, as if she'd been pushed violently off. Unnerved, I kneeled and picked up the doll, sitting her upright. Her expression seemed subtly crueler than I remembered. As I adjusted her little dress, chills ran through me. There on her plastic wrist were 3 scratch marks. I quickly placed Rose back on the chair and recoiled from the room. Something felt seriously wrong about that doll. When I told my mom what I'd seen, she shook her head adamantly. "It's impossible. No one goes in there. Rose hasn't moved for years." But I knew what I saw. The bedroom door now stayed firmly shut. Later that week, weird things started happening around the house. Knocking and footsteps in the night. Cupboards left hanging open. Lights flickering. My parents blamed old wiring, but dread simmered in me. 2 nights before the move, I awoke to see a small silhouette standing beside my bed, frowning down at me. I recognized with horror Rose's frilly dress and ringlet curls. The doll stepped closer, moonlight glinting off her azure glass eyes. With a squeaking creak, she raised her arm, pointed at me, and whispered in a broken child's voice, "Sister." I screamed, bolting upright in bed. Peering around in darkness, nothing was there. Just another nightmare. But it had felt so vivid. The next day, Mom insisted I help her clear out Hannah's room before movers arrived. The whole space had a sinister aura as I reluctantly followed her in. I scanned the chair nervously. This time Rose sat in her rightful place, eyes downcast, layers of dust on her dress. Untouched for ages. What was happening to me? "Here, you should have this." My mom extended Rose toward me, smiling sadly. "Keep her safe." I gently refused at first, then gave in for Mom's sake. She was just a doll after all, harmless without the supernatural context my mind created. After we finished packing up the house, I left Rose in a box headed for storage. In our new house, life quickly felt normal again. No more strange occurrences or vivid nightmares. Hannah's bedroom and all its grief was far behind us. A month after moving in, I decided to host a slumber party with friends like when we were kids. While setting up the living room, I slit open a storage box, only to find Rose packed inside, scowling up at me. My skin crawled. That doll was supposed to be in storage, not right here. I decided then to just get rid of her. But every time I tried tossing the creepy thing in the garbage, she mysteriously reappeared somewhere in the house. Rose was determined not to leave. That night during the slumber party, we decided to watch scary movies, giggling and chatting over pizza. Near midnight, things took a dark turn. A loud crash echoed from down the hall, followed by what sounded like children singing a nursery rhyme, growing steadily closer. My friends fell silent, listening. A shifting shadow spilled from my open bedroom. Light glinted off the ringlet curls of the doll waddling toward us. Rose's head swiveled, blue eyes fixing hungrily on each girl as she sang, razor-edge voice slicing the air. We sat paralyzed by the surreal scene. Suddenly, Rose screeched and scurried at us in a blur. Chaos erupted as we screamed, the doll's tiny plastic limbs scratching wildly. I managed to trap her under a laundry basket, shoving books on top so she couldn't escape. We barricaded ourselves in the laundry room, listening to Rose's muffled shrieks. At sunrise, eerie silence filled the house once again. But by then, my terrified friends had all fled home. I couldn't let this evil doll terrorize me or my loved ones any longer. I had to end this curse. That morning, I wrapped Rose in a burlap sack and weighted it with bricks. At a remote ravine, I said a prayer for my late sister and tossed the bundle over the precipice, hearing it crack open on the jagged rocks below. I finally felt at peace again. But it still gives me chills imagining Rose down in that forgotten gorge, dress soaked with rain and algae, waiting with those cold glass eyes, luring curious children or pets as she bides her time. Until the day she climbs up from below to unleash her vengeance once more. They say possession works both ways. And once a spirit latches onto you, it never fully lets go, even in death. I don't know what made that doll turn evil. Maybe it was the imprint of Hannah's agony that corrupted Rose's painted porcelain soul. Perhaps my own grief in her presence somehow invited darkness in. But some legends refuse to be buried. And the curse of the most sinister doll I ever knew still wanders those lonely ravines, swirling fog concealing her broken face, as she sings out for another friend to join her in the cold, lightless earth.